This time I'm looking at a line from Pat Martino. This comes from his version of the jazz standard Blue Bossa, taken from his album Exit. So let me play it, then we'll pull it apart. Before we get into the analysis, just a quick reminder, if you'd like to see a transcription of this or any of my other lines and solos, you'll find a link in the description down below. So you may remember a little while back we looked at a Joe Pass line from the standard Blue Bossa. I thought it'd be interesting, as it's a well-known jazz standard, widely played, to see how another great guitar player has approached this progression. So this time we're going to be looking at Pat Martino's take on it. As I say, this is taken from his album Exit, and he takes it a little bit faster than Joe Pass did. And the sequence itself, it's a 16-bar sequence in C minor, and the chords, we get 2 bars of C minor 7, 2 bars of F minor 7, then there's a minor 2-5-1 in C minor, so a bar of D minor 7 flat 5, bar of G7, 2 bars of C minor 7. Then we have a 2-5-1 in D flat, so this would be a bar of E flat minor 7, bar of A flat 7, 2 bars of D flat major 7, then another minor 2-5-1 in C minor, so a bar of D minor 7 flat 5, bar of G7, bar of C minor 7, then back to G7 for the final bar to set up the return to C minor. And for this line, we're playing basically the first chorus of Pat Martino's solo on this tune. And he starts out with a little pickup leading into the C minor 7. So he starts a bar and an 8th note before the sequence itself starts and plays this. And so we can see this, although in theory it's over a G7 chord, he's really playing over C minor 7, I would suggest here. And he starts out outlining a G minor 7 arpeggio, going from the flat 7 F up to the G, the root, then the flat 3rd, then the 5th, the D, flat 7th, the F. So that's straight up a G minor 7 arpeggio. Then back to the D, then to E flat, G, and B flat. So this is a C minor 7 arpeggio. Again, the D, you could see that as being the 9th, or you can see it as being the 5th and the G minor 7 arpeggio again. But you get this. All those notes are from C minor Dorian. In fact, this entire sequence over the C minor 7 chord, all of the notes come from C minor Dorian, although I'd suggest there's more going on than that. So yeah, that's the initial pickup. And then the progression itself starts. We shift to C minor 7, and over the C minor 7, he plays this. So it starts out with an A and an F, then a G and an E flat. So to me that sounds like he's sort of implying F major, then C minor. So that'd be the major 3rd and the root in F major. And then C minor, that'd be the 5th and the flat 3rd. And carries on down C minor 7 arpeggio. And the 9th as well. Then the second bar of C minor 7 goes up to the A, which would be the 6th. Straight down the Dorian scale to the B flat, and then ending up down on the G, the low G here. could suggest he's implying F and C minor again, or you could just say he's running straight down the scale. So, including the pickup, we get this. And then we move to the F minor 7 chord. And has a rest for the first couple of beats of this bar, and then starts on this B flat, which is the 4th, up here on the 6th fret on the top E string. So that's on beat 3. Then on 4 and, plays a passing note of A natural, chromatic passing note to A flat, which would be the minor 3rd, and then comes straight down F Dorian to the B flat, and skips down to the G at the end of the bar. I'd suggest this G is anticipating what's coming next, because then we move into the first 2-5-1 idea in this. And incidentally, there's 3 great 2-5-1 ideas in this chorus, all eminently stealable. And this is the first one. This is a minor 2-5-1 in C minor. So D minor 7 flat 5 to G7 to C minor 7. And over the D minor 7 flat 5, he's kind of ignoring the D minor 7 flat 5 and just playing over G7, which is something Pat Martino does a lot, to be honest. And so over here, he starts out with the G, final 8th note of the previous bar, which is kind of anticipating this move to the G. And he follows this over the D minor 7 flat 5 chord by basically outlining G7. So he goes up to the, call this the sharp 9th, or a chromatic approach note to the major 3rd, the B. The major 3rd, then the 5th, flat 7th, root. So straight up a dominant 7th arpeggio. Second half of the bar, we've got the A flat, A sharp or B flat, G and F. So that's the flat 9 and the sharp 9 over G7. So you could see these notes coming from G altered scale or G half whole diminished. And then the next bar goes down to E flat, C, D, C. So I would suggest he's implying a resolution to C minor here, even though we're playing over G7 in theory in this bar. Because as we said, he started over G7 in the D minor 7 flat 5 bar. So he's kind of resolving to C minor 7 early here. So we've kind of got a 5-1 idea, but just moved everything, moved a bar early. So we've got G7 to C minor. So this would be the minor 3rd in C, in the root, then the 2nd, then the root. Second half of this bar, he kind of realizes he's still on G7 and goes back to G7, landing on the major 3rd, the B, then going down A flat, which is the flat 9, then the F, the G7 flat 9, kind of outlining, to the E flat. A couple of ways we can see this note. We could see it as the sharp 5 over G7, or as the chord is moving to C minor 7, we could see that as the minor 3rd, so anticipating the change back to C minor 7. And he follows this on beat 1 of the C minor 7 chord by sliding up to a G. So that would be the 5th on the C minor 7. So yeah, you could see this as resolving to the flat 3rd and the 5th. Of the C minor 7. And then he follows this. Classics or resolution phrase. You could see this as coming from C melodic minor. Because we've got that B natural in there over the C minor, which is the major 7th. Or we could also see it as him implying G7 back to C7, which I think is pretty likely given that's what he's done in the previous 2 bars quite a few times. You can see this as all being G7 essentially, with the 9th in there. So that'd be the root, the major 3rd, the 5th, then resolving to C minor, going straight up C minor scale, or C Dorian, from the root. So that whole line over the minor 251 would be this. Lovely minor 251 line in C. So then he follows that. The chords are shifting to a 251 now in D flat. So that'd be the chords E flat minor 7, A flat 7, D flat major 7. And he plays this, anticipating his move to E flat minor 7, A flat F, A flat G flat. So he's kind of playing around E flat minor here, E flat minor scale, E flat Dorian, and landing on the minor third, the G flat, to set up the move, to anticipate the move to E flat minor. That's on the last eighth note of the preceding bar before we get to the E flat minor 7th chord. So over the C minor 7 we get this. And then the chord shifts to E flat minor 7. And so over the E flat minor 7 we get this. Just kind of some unusual notes in there, or one unusual note in particular in there. So you've got F down to E flat, down to D flat. It's a straight out of E flat minor, E flat Dorian. But then he goes down to this A natural, which is the flat 5, which is perhaps a more unusual note. Then to the C, back to the A, B flat, then C. So the other notes you could all see is coming from E flat Dorian, but a little bit unusual. And then over the A flat 7th chord, he carries on up the scale to D flat, E flat, F, A flat, shifts up to C, then to B natural and G. Which are kind of unusual notes to pick out over an A flat 7th chord. As I say, it starts out around E flat Dorian, or you can see it as being A flat mixed Lydian. But the C, it's a major third, which is fine. The B natural, it's a sharp 9th, that's okay. But then the G natural is really unexpected because that's a major 7th over a dominant 7th chord, which is a very out note, very odd note to choose. And I must say, I had to look at this a couple of times to figure out exactly what was going on here, what he was doing. And I think what he's doing here is he's actually substituting a 251 sequence. So rather than playing over a 251 in D flat, I think he's playing over a 251 in A flat. So actually, over the E flat minor 7, he's playing around B flat minor 7. If we think of it from that point of view, it starts to make sense. Because we get a much more standard kind of 2-chord idea. It starts around B flat minor 7, down to the major 7th. So again, implying this F7, this 5-1 idea. The classic sort of sound in there. And then over the A flat 7, he's kind of carrying up B flat minor pentatonic. Then over the A flat 7, if we're treating that as E flat 7, it makes a bit more sense because we've got the 13th, the sharp 5th, and then the major 3rd. So as I say, it makes a bit more sense if we look at it in that point of view. And then when it gets to the D flat major 7 chord, he leaves a bar rest, and then the second bar of the D flat major 7 plays this. So over D flat major 7, we can see this is sliding up to the 13th, the 6th, B flat, then coming straight down D flat Lydian, ending up on the 9th, major 7th. But if we follow through the idea that he's actually treating this 251 as a 251 in A flat, again it makes a bit more sense. Over an A flat chord, we're starting on the 9th and then basically coming down an A flat major 7th arpeggio. Sticking the 6th in there as well. So as I say, if we treat this as a 251 in A flat, we get this. Which to me sounds much more where the harmony is coming from. So it's open to interpretation, but you know, that's how it seems to me. That would be my suggestion for what he's thinking here. And then we get back to another minor 251 in C. So again, D minor 7 flat 5, G7, C minor. And over the D minor 7 flat 5, he plays this. So he's kind of outlining D minor 7 here, starting on the root, the D, and going down to the C, flat 7th, then the 5th. So basically playing a D minor 7 arpeggio. Then moving up chromatically to the B. And going straight up a G7 arpeggio. So that'd be the 3rd, 5th, flat 7th, root. So very much anticipating the move to G7 by shifting to G7 2 beats early. Then over the G7 chord itself, plays this. So this is the note B flat, or A sharp, then B natural, back to the B flat, or A sharp, then down to A flat, G, E flat, B, finally G. G ghosts the note. So these notes, we could see them as all coming from G altered scale. As that would be the sharp 9, then the major 3rd, sharp 9 again, flat 9, root, sharp 5, major 3rd, and back to the root. In fact, the second half of this bar, he's just going down a G augmented arpeggio. And resolves it to C minor with this little 4-note motif. Based around, you can see that as around C minor 7 arpeggio, or just around C minor scale, or C Dorian. And then finishes up sort of playing around that idea. So as the chord switches to G7 at the end of the progression, he just plays around this. Going up to the flat 5, so suggesting C blues scale in there. Basically playing around C minor, C Dorian. Finishing up on that minor 3rd as the sequence starts again. So let's just play that final minor 251 in C. Again, another lovely 251 idea. There's lots of great ideas in this. And it's an interesting idea as well because a lot of it he's playing around the same area. You know, these C minor ideas and 251s in C minor, they're all in this area of the neck. So playing around this G7 and this C minor 7. And it's interesting to see how, using similar sort of ideas, he comes up with different phrases, you know, different variations on the same sort of ideas. It's a good sort of little delve into Pat Martino's processes, you know, the patterns and shapes he likes to use. So let's put this whole line together slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's all from me for now, but do check out the transcription for this. It makes it much easier to follow what's going on. As I mentioned before, you can find a link in the description down below. And to finish up, I'm going to play this at half speed with a backing track and then back up to tempo to finish.